as someone who has taken the red pill, I have definitely noticed a difference since leaving the matrix and waking up politically. I was sold this idea that the Democrats were the party of immigrants, they were the party of love. You lie! Global pause made me question a lot of things. Digging deeper into the government's narrative of the lockdown, questioning the restrictions, I felt a certain way about Trump at the time, I won't lie. So I was very curious to learn why and how, because all I saw are these little clips they played you, just like they're doing now, or telling you this is how he is because of this clip. Look at this clip. It has no context. One childhood friend of mine, he had the audacity to message me on Instagram. This was, I don't know, it was around July, maybe August of last year. He was questioning me about my decision to vote for Trump, essentially confronting me. Why are you not voting for Kamala, and yet you're a woman? She's a black woman. He even told me that he considered me a sweet girl and empathetic who loved music, as if that's changed because now I'm voting for Trump. There is no way I could still be that sweet, empathetic girl who loved music. Accusing me of becoming the token black girl for racists.
After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Hey everyone, ohoro wanyu, habari zenu, como esta, guten tag, konnichiwa, and all the other greetings. It is Kenyan Hippie back with a new video. If you just came across my video or my channel, I hope you'll stick around and learn something, possibly subscribe. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. Today's video is going to be a very interesting one. I have been meaning to make it for a while now. And it has to do with how friendships change after you take the red pill. And as someone who has taken the red pill, and I took it in 2020, right after lockdown, BLM time. That was my awakening point. I have definitely noticed a difference since leaving the matrix and waking up politically. It's a journey that has shaped not just what I believe, but also who I can truly call a friend. Let's get into it. So I wasn't always a constitutionalist or an outspoken conservative. And you can actually look here to see my Why I Left the Left video. It's a summarized version. I also touched on a bit of a lengthier version of it right here. For most of my life, I was actually very apolitical. And then around 2018-ish, 2017, 2018, I decided to identify more with the liberal side of things, the left, the Democrats. 2019 came around, I naturalized as a citizen, and I immediately registered to vote Democrat because, again, at the time, I was sold this idea that the Democrats were the party of immigrants. They were the party of love.
You lie! You're lying! Liar! Lies! The filthy earth boy lies!
The party of immigrants, the party of women, the party of minorities.
You lying bitch. She is lying like a motherfucker. I know that. Ooh, this motherfucker's lying.
And so I became a dedicated Democrat activist. I spent countless hours joining all these groups on Twitter at the time and advocating for left-leaning policies, which I honestly did not really understand at the core of it. I went to a bunch of protests. I even volunteered to be on Elizabeth Warren's campaign. I know. I did. My world and my friendships very much centered around that identity. Everything shifted during COVID and again, the BLM riots. That global pause made me question a lot of things. Digging deeper into the government's narrative of the lockdown, questioning the restrictions, mandates, And then also the whole Trump is a racist, Trump is a racist. That rhetoric had me questioning more than I had answers. I felt a certain way about Trump at the time, I won't lie. So I was very curious to learn why and how, because all I saw are these little clips they played you, just like they're doing now, or telling you this is how he is because of this clip. Look at this clip. It has no context. It doesn't not show you the whole clip. Again, it's these little nitpicks, nitbits here and there. But the control and the push to mandate so many things.
Just to remind everybody, it's important. Biden put out an executive order that said if you don't get vaccinated, you could lose your job. Think about how insane our public policy got. And I think I speak for at least the people I know that this is an important issue. Just maybe start by acknowledging you made a mistake.
The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me. I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated will end up paying the price.
The unvaccinated should be taxed. They should pay more for health care.
We need to
And say if you don't get the job, you're going to lose your job.
Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick video and share that unfortunately I got diagnosed with COVID-19. You all know I am fully vaccinated and got my Pfizer booster a couple months ago and took as many precautions as I could.
Seeing people taking a stand against that awakened something in me. Gradually, I found myself doing more research, listening to people like Larry Elder.
Give me the most blatant racist example you can come up with right now.
I think you could probably find evidence that, in general, cops are more willing to shoot if the perpetrator is black.
What's your data
than white?
What's your basis for saying that? Last year...
Well, look, I know a lot of people would say, look what's going on in Chicago.
I know what they would say.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what the facts are. 965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks. In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black. About 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved. Where is the Black Lives Matter on that?
And Ben Shapiro.
Now, nor ever will have anything to do with politics, as you know, politics.
He has nothing to do with politics, guys. Nothing. Also, he said yesterday that Democratic governors who just randomly have started releasing their grip on the public, they've started to get rid of mask mandates, and they're keeping certain mask mandates for children, but they're getting rid of vax mandates, but not the vax mandates for city employees. He says, don't worry, it's not about politics. See, when Democrats do it, it's not about politics. When Republicans do it, it's about politics.
And Candace Owens.
White supremacy is real, just as racism is real, but neither of these ideologies are real in this room. They have become mechanisms for the left to continue to call these hearings and to distract from much bigger issues that are facing this country and which threaten minorities. Much bigger issues that they are responsible for. White nationalism sounds a lot better as a threat than father absence. When are we going to call a hearing on the 74% of single motherhood rate in Black America today? My guess is probably never. Since Democrats are the author of that epidemic, which leaves us, Black Americans, 20 times more likely to end up in prison, 9 times more likely to drop out of high school, and 5 times more likely to lead a life in poverty and to commit crime.
And Thomas Sowell.
If you were to give reparations to everyone whose ancestors had been slaves, I suspect that you would have to give reparations to more than half the entire population of the globe. Slavery was not confined to one set of races. I suspect that most of the people who were either slaves or slave owners around the world were neither white nor black. I mean, this was a universal curse of the human species.
Africa, the Middle East, Asia, slavery took place everywhere.
And it continued elsewhere.
And let me tell you, my perspective shifted so fast. Suddenly, I was asking certain questions about individual choice, personal freedom, collectivism, monolithic thinking. And as I started to share that process and my thoughts started to shift, I definitely noticed a change in how people responded to me. Overnight, I lost about 30,000 followers on TikTok. If you people don't know, my very first account had grown quite a bit. I was on the cusp of 700,000 followers when I got banned. So when I say I lost 30K, at the time, it didn't look like such a big deal, but I lost quite a few people, but I also gained a lot of people overnight. I remember talking to one of my, I guess I could say a former friend of mine, and I told him, oh my gosh, I have so many MAGA people following me. I don't know what to do now. Because it was so wild to me. They were following me because I spoke out against, I think it was welfare, the misuse of welfare. And it resonated with a lot of people. I also spoke out against the victimhood narrative. And it resonated with a lot more people. And I found myself overnight, and I was freaking out a little bit. Here's where the story gets tough. The friendships I had built over the years, especially those rooted in shared activism, began to shift. They became very strained. Some could not wrap their heads around my transformation because I went from apolitical to flaming liberal to, okay, now I think I'm a conservative. My values align more with the conservatives. I remember one childhood friend of mine. I went to school with this guy in primary school. We were in the same school for 9 years, but we were very close for only 2 toward the end. And he had the audacity to message me on Instagram. This was, I don't know, it was around July, maybe August of last year. He was questioning me about my decision to vote for Trump, essentially confronting me. Why are you not voting for Kamala and yet you're a woman? She's a black woman. Instead of trying to ask me what changed, what shifted, it came from a place of some kind of superior morality angle he was taking. I did not appreciate that because I felt very, very patronized. He asked me, why aren't you supporting a black woman? He even told me that he considered me a sweet girl and empathetic who loved music, as if that's changed because now I'm voting for Trump. There is no way I could still be that sweet, empathetic girl who loved music. Meanwhile, I'm writing my own music now and producing. When I tried to explain my reasons to him and my changed beliefs and how I no longer agreed with progressive politics, his response was accusing me of becoming the token black girl for racists. Let me tell you something, that was the last time I spoke with him because I felt so insulted. They call me a token black girl, and yet he's the one actually tokenizing me. No Republican has called me a token to this day. Guess who has? Liberals. I felt so insulted, and honestly, I was hurt that he saw my change as a betrayal instead of growth. Why does this happen? What I've learned is that political shifts are not just about policy. They're about identity, values, and how we see the world. Studies show that about a quarter of Americans have ended friendships over politics since 2016. And that's because in today's climate, political beliefs have fused with moral identity. And disagreeing feels like a challenge to someone's core goodness. Social media makes it so much worse, amplifying harsh reactions, accusations. If you support Dash, we can't be friends. Rarely do people stop to ask you what changed. They just see you as the other side. When I left BLM, I stopped supporting BLM and I shared an article again in this group of Kenyan women. I was met with a lot of hostility and aggression. Not one person asked me, why did you stop supporting BLM? Not one person asked me that. I would have been happy to explain. All they did was attack me. Oh, how dare you come here as an immigrant and speak out against black people? You don't know what it feels like. And my rebuttal was, I have conservative friends who look like me, who disagree with you. Are you saying they are wrong as well? Are you saying they're having the wrong experience since they have lived here? If you're going to go with the period of time someone has lived here, they are actual American-born Americans. I'm American, but I wasn't born here. So you're saying their experience is wrong? Are you gaslighting them as well? So there's less curiosity and more judgment. There's no tolerance anymore. I have not once said to anyone, I can't be friends with you anymore. But I will put my foot down and say, if you cannot understand where I'm coming from and you refuse to respect my decisions, I have nothing else to say to you. Let the friendship die a natural death. It's not just my story. I have seen plenty of people sharing their testimonies of how their family does not speak to them anymore since they voted for Trump. Their friends don't speak to them anymore.
I have dear friends of mine who are in a terrible situation because they're next door neighbors who are their closest friends and godparents to their children. One of the couples said, you know what? If anybody I know, any of my neighbors, family, friends voted for Donald Trump, I don't want to be friends with them anymore. Now, my friend happens to be a closet conservative.
Daughters are not speaking to their mothers. Mothers are not speaking to their daughters. It's insane, the division that has happened. All because someone would sit down with you and try to understand where you're coming from. A lot of us and a lot of people experienced political awakenings during the pandemic, have lost close friends, family, and support systems.
I just texted my best friend of 14 years. Literally half of my life. I'm 28. And I asked them who they voted for. They said Donald Trump. And they said, I'm assuming you voted the opposite. And I said, yes. And then my friend texted me and said, will you still be my friend?
These drifts create a real sense of isolation. It's strange realizing you have very little in common with someone you grew up with or someone you know, even with people who were once your closest confidants. The activist community I belonged to when I was still a liberal feels foreign and even hostile now that my beliefs have changed. While I never wanted to walk away from friends just because we disagreed, the distance is definitely undeniable. They see me differently, and the things we used to bond over have vanished. But here's the truth. This is a journey worth living. New connections have formed. I have met a whole other family of MAGA people like me. People who respect my autonomy and my reasoning. They don't always agree with every single thing. I don't want you guys thinking that just because we are MAGA, we agree on everything. We're not a monolith. If you have not noticed, there have been people even criticizing Trump. We voted for him, we still criticize him because we are allowed to have autonomy. We are allowed to have our individual thoughts, our individual ideas. As a whole, yes, we're brothers and sisters in patriotism, but we don't always see eye to eye on everything. The one thing we do have in common is that we love this country. I've learned the value of standing firm, especially now. Even alone, I would rather stand alone than stand with people who don't align with my values. I would rather stand alone rather than bending just to preserve old friendships. So what's the takeaway here? Friendship can change, sometimes dramatically, after you leave the matrix.
After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
It's not easy. I will not lie to you and tell you it is. There is grief in losing some of these bonds, but there's also pride that comes with living authentically. If you're experiencing something similar or you've experienced something similar, know that you are not alone. And remember, real empathy and connection aren't always about agreeing on everything. They're about respecting each other's journeys. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope this resonated with a lot of you. I know there are people going through the same thing I'm going through. If you are one of them, share your story in the comments. How has it been for you? How many friendships have you lost? Do you feel distant from people you used to call friends before you opened your eyes and now it's like you have nothing in common with them anymore? Share your story with me. If you like this, I appreciate you so much. If you stuck all the way to the end, thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you know when I upload any new videos. I will see you guys in the next video. Kenyan Hippie out.